All righty. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Today is Tuesday, March 10th for the Marlborough Public School Committee meeting. I'd like to remind everyone that we are being televised by WMCT-TV and we are live streamed. I call this meeting to order. We'll start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. We are honored to be gathered here today with Troop 26 and Troop 41, who is going to take the lead with the Pledge of Allegiance. So if I can have everyone rise, which you all know the routine, which is great. So we'll all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and we'll kick it off. So go for it.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Nice work, Troop 26 and 41. All right, they're going to be sticking around for tonight's meeting so they can get their community service badges. So welcome to the school committee meeting. Happy to have you. All righty. When do you want to suspend the rules after superintendent?
No, he's going to announce it and then we'll suspend the rules to go.
We're moving on to the superintendent's reports.
Excellent.
Superintendent.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, school committee. I'm going to open my report this evening with some really exciting news. It gives me great pleasure to announce that after a thorough search process, that I'm recommending our current Whitcomb Middle School principal, Mrs. Angela House, as our next assistant superintendent for teaching and learning. In your packet this evening, you will find a copy of Mrs. House's resume, although I know she is no stranger to our community. She is deeply dedicated as both an educator and a leader within our school system, also an alumni, which is very cool. And I'm confident that her leadership will help to continue the transformational work that is happening across our school system, and frankly, the work that she has done to transform our middle school. She is a leader for all of us. She has been in the forefront of reform and transformation work. And I cannot think of anyone better to be joining our senior team to help us continue the great work that has started. So congratulations, Angela. And if you'd like to say a few words, please.
Green is on, right?
Green is on.
Hi, everyone. Thank you to the school committee, Dr. DeFalco, hiring committee, and for the mayor for your trust and support. Cry and then I'll get over it. It feels like this moment and then I can move on with everything else. Thank you to my family and colleagues for coming to support me. It's truly an honor to stand here before you and accept the role of Assistant Superintendent of Teaching and Learning. Usually it passes by now. Usually. As I step into this position, I've been thinking a lot about goals, and it's really one simple goal, just to keep getting better. Because when our schools get better, our community gets better, and I deeply care about this community, not just because I'm a student that graduated from Marlborough Public Schools, but because living it for the past 15 years, I've had a different experience than I did being a student through it. My time at Whitcomb has shaped me tremendously as a leader. The staff there continually to show me what's possible when talented, dedicated people believe in one common mission and do the hard work together to change. And I'm incredibly grateful for my team of educators, paraeducators, everyone from custodial staff to office support, cafeteria workers, my building-based administrative team for their support and partnership along the way. This was a step that I wasn't, sure that I was gonna step into, but I've just felt so much warmth and love from them through this journey. So thank you for that. The work of improving schools is never finished. I know no one wants to hear that, but continuous improvement's important and what makes it exciting for me to step into this role. And sometimes I recognize the pace of change can feel daunting, but I see it as an opportunity. Our students need us to think ahead, to keep learning, and keep asking how we can do things even better than we currently are. So as educators, we can't just focus on where we're at or where the ball is, but we need to focus on where it's going. When I look across Marlborough Public Schools, I see tremendous talent, passion, commitment. It's evident in our walkthroughs, in our school committee meetings, in our staff. And it gives me so much confidence that we're going to continue building on the strong foundation we have in place. Thank you again for this opportunity. I'm excited to continue serving here in Marlborough in a different role. So thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to move to suspend the rules.
Okay, we have a motion on the table and seconded to suspend the rules. Any questions, comments, or concerns? All in favor? Motion carries.
And I'd like to make a motion to move up item 7B, approval of contract for the Assistant Superintendent of Teaching and Learning.
And to approve it, correct?
Well, we have to vote. And to approve. Move to approve.
Move to approve and seconded. Any questions, comments, or concerns regarding the contract for Ms. House?
Just a comment of, we're really excited for you to take this next step. And it's really evident just by the comments that you just provided us. Your passion's infectious with the staff and the students, and frankly, for all of us here. So we're really looking forward to you having this next opportunity and continuing to grow and helping all of our students to succeed as well as our staff. So thank you.
Okay. You've always been a dynamic powerhouse, and I didn't mean that to have a pun, but when the superintendent brought this, I couldn't find a more fitting person. So I'm very grateful in everything that you have done, and I can't wait to see how you blossom and transform teaching and learning. So kudos to you. So thank you. Thank you. All righty. Anyone else? Questions, comments? Seeing none. All in favor of approving the contract? Motion carries. Congratulations.
Okay. Moving along, we are going to have an update this evening from our communications coordinator, Ms. Esmer Casas. And we had a short slide deck that you're going to throw up there. And there, we do have a copy of it in front of you at your seats this evening. While Esmer is pulling the materials up for tonight. Just as a kind of a refresh, Esmer joined us, I think it was sometime in the late summer, to talk a little bit about some of the goals that she had laid out for our communications and media work for the start of this academic year. So in front of you is an overview of some of the different ways that Esmer has really looked to kind of lift the school system and bring it front and center through a variety of venues, from social media, through newsletters, through our local cable access, leveraging all of the opportunities that she can to really put front and center for our community just how incredible Marlborough Public Schools is.
Oh, I have a Mac. Yeah, I'll send it to you. I have a Mac.
So I'm going to keep talking for a few minutes, a little bit about the packet. There's not only, one of the things actually I appreciate about the way that we've approached this work is not just from the perspective of trying to get information out, but actually trying to take information in and look at the analytics. In other words, like, what is the impact of the work that we're putting out? And one of the data points I just want to bring to everyone's attention, you'll see as Esmer starts walking through the material, that there is some information around our newsletters and the open rate versus kind of the click rate on the actual newsletter itself. The open rate means that, right? Like it was opened up and people had a chance to look at it. The click rate is, individuals interacting with the materials on there. So it could be that the individual that opened it did read all the materials, but just didn't need to click on any of the active links within it. So just as an FYI, the click rates are very low, like single digits. Don't panic when you see that. It might just be that there were not, a bunch of links that people needed to click into. No?
I sent it to RJ.
Oh, good. Okay.
It's just a MacBook.
Jason, I would add, from my perspective, the conversion, the open rates, click-throughs, all looks like good benchmark data. So to emphasize what you said, it's not exactly like.
No.
Yeah, good. Yeah, in the first kind of year of looking, at least for me, like looking at this level of analytics from this type of work was just eye-opening. So I appreciate you calling that out. Like it's a good kind of baseline to get a sense of where we're starting from with that. Appreciate that.
It says sent.
Do you want to just move on to the attendance report while we get this?
Sure, let's
Sure,
do that.
I'm happy to do that. In your packet this evening, you also have a copy of our updated attendance report for the month of February. One of the things to just draw to everyone's attention, which was really interesting, typically in the winter months, you will see a pattern where attendance tends to dip. We've seen that, particularly over January, but you'll notice in the month of February that our attendance actually did have an uptick as far as our regular student attendance. So we're happy to see that in many cases, a lot of our schools were hovering between the 94 and 95%. And I will add to that, we are doing a very deep dive into our chronically absent students and are doing a thorough analysis looking into the impact of transportation. I know that's something that the school committee has talked a lot about, that the administration has taken very serious as far as really determining what are some of the reasons that students are not coming to school. And so through that analysis, we have seen that our chronically absent students, the majority of them do have transportation provided to them from the school system. And I do have the specific numbers. I will get them updated and out on your weekly update so you can see what they are. But I just wanted to put that out in front because when we get into our budget conversation later, we are proposing to increase our busing. But I want to be clear that the chronically absent students, the majority of those kids do have bus routes already, so that it is not from that. I know that was something that
They're not walkers.
right. Yeah. So just wanted to put that out in front. Okay. And we'll shift back to our media and communications update.
Yeah. Sorry, Superintendent.
Oh, I'm
Jane has
sorry.
a question.
Sure.
I love all the headings of the papers. I don't know all of them. Doing the first one means great. That one I did get. I'm not sure.
Oh, I see. Sure.
The headings on the spreadsheet. Please. Like ENT, HI, ADA.
Yeah, and what I can do is for the weekly update, I can include what they are to help you unpack the grid.
A little key chart at the bottom or something.
Sure.
Yeah.
Happy to do that.
You're not alone, Dan.
Thank you, Dan.
You got it. No, it's all good. Esmer? All good.
Yes. Okay. Good evening, school committee. Again, my name is Esmer Casas. I'm the communications coordinator for the district. Oh, yes, sorry about that. So I gave you all an update at the beginning of the school year on September 30th. And so we just wanted to kind of see where we were before, just as a summary. So when I last presented to you, I told you a little bit about the initiatives we had at the beginning of the school year, which was focusing on our branding, our visual identity. As you can see through our social media, our website, some of the graphics that I've created, and just things that we're doing throughout the district, just to have a unified Marlborough Public Schools voice, tone, and visual identity. So I've been focusing on the website. Like I said, I rolled out some calendar guidelines for our buildings. And then we also launched our community newsletter, which is the Panther Nation Connection. So we share the updates with our families, our students, and our staff through there. And just going back to the attendance, we make sure that's part of that, we show that to our families and our students, like our attendance rates by building, so they are aware, and we just promote just other initiatives that are going on. We also started doing weekly updates at the building level. So they all kind of have like a general outline of what our families can expect from our building principals each week, just so they can stay connected and know what's going on in their own building. And then, of course, we share information back and forth so that they can see the information multiple times, whether it's a school activity or an event, kindergarten registration, anything like that, so they can see it more than one time, so we know that we can say, we're pushing this information out to them. And then, of course, back in the fall, we had started our Super Saturday video series, which we partner with WMCT-TV to do that. It's anchored by the superintendent, and we have different guests each month. Typically, that is at a higher level topic, so it'll be like the richer school building project or something else like that. And then, of course, just keeping up with our social media, focusing more on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. So those are the initiatives we had back in September. So since then, we are still focusing on our content pillars. So I'm making sure that the content that we're putting out has a purpose behind it. It's either to engage our community with storytelling, letting them know why they should choose MHS, or, come to an event or anything like that. Promote our news and events, motivate our families to interact with our content, and then educate them, because what we found is that families don't actually know all the offerings that we have. They don't know all the great things that are happening in our schools. So we want to educate them throughout every piece of content. With that being said, another thing that I focus on is enrollment marketing. Our high school principal and our middle school principal have been doing such a great job of connecting with each other and focusing on showing our middle school students what the high school has to offer. And they've been doing great work internally. But we are trying to reach families that may not already be connected with us. So we sent out a direct mail booklet in October, which was a larger piece of mail that went out to families with children ages 10 to 15. And this was like a 4-page booklet that showed everything that we have to offer at the high school level. And then we did a follow-up postcard last month that showcase our high school and our middle school offerings in a smaller postcard size mailer that went to all families with children ages 10 to 16. And again, those are all families in Marlboro, so not just the ones that are in our school. It's families that may be our homeschooling or have chosen another school. So again, maybe they're not aware of what we're offering. So this is a good spot for them to go to. And then they have a QR code and our information where they can find more information about our schools. So that we worked with Minimat Press for that. And then, like I said, we have been doing our newsletter, the Panther Nation Connection, which is monthly for our community. But then we also added our staff newsletter. So we found that our staff felt a little disconnected about what was going on at the district level. So we started a monthly staff newsletter that our various departments share information. And we have now a new newsletter tool that can show us how engaged our staff and our families are. So we can show you that we have currently a 53% open rate for our January staff. Again, we just launched in January, so it's only been 3 issues. So that one was the one that was most open so far. And then we had a click-through rate of 8%, meaning that people are actually clicking on the links and actually reading what we're sending to them. For our February family newsletter, we had a 63% open rate. For the Panther Nation Connection, the first edition with our newsletter tool where we can actually track it was in February. So it's only been 2 editions that we've done with the new newsletter tool. And then we had a 6% click-through rate. So we're hoping that families and staff and students can kind of realize that that is the go-to place for them to find information. And we hope that these metrics keep improving. And then, of course, like I said, we've been working on video series. We know that our generation likes visuals more than anything, and especially podcasts, anything they can listen to, especially if it's shorter. So we, apart from the Super Saturday, which is more long form, we just launched the Super 6, which is basically our district community newsletter, but it's just the top 6 things that our staff needs to know, or our community needs to know. And we partnered with our high school students to do that. So it'll be like a very short, like reel, like 2 to 3 minutes, where they can just, it's just very high level, like in 1 minute or less. And then our high school will be producing it. So it works twofold. We're showcasing the talent that is at our high school, the quality of our teachers, because it's our video production teacher that is running this class. And then, of course, we're informing our community. And then we also have the Panther Cast, which is being run by our Panther Media Club at the high school level. And they do that once or twice a month, and they showcase more high school clubs, activities, or events. So from our video series, the principal episode from our Panther Cast was one of our more viewed episodes. So that one had 1.7% more 1 minute views on Facebook than all the other videos. Good job, Steven. So that was a good episode. And then the premiere episode of the Super 6, which is the very short newsletter, basically condensed newsletter, that received 1,646 reach, which is just how many people saw it, interacted with it. And then our most commented on video was the premiere episode of the Panther Cast, which was with Jill Jackson. So people are interacting with them. We know that people are enjoying the videos. We've had some good feedback on them. So we will just keep working on that and making sure we're where our audience is. We want to meet them there and just get information to them in different ways. And then, of course, all this content is repurposed for social media. So we post the videos or the activities or events on social media, and we make sure that it is high quality photos, that, again, our brand is being seen through there. We have some good data on our social media as well. So we can see that people are also interacting with it. We have, since I last presented to you on September 30th, in the past 6 months, our views on Facebook have gone up over 38% compared to the April 24th through September 30th. Our content interactions on Instagram have gone up by 500%, and that includes the likes, shares, and comments. And then our comments on LinkedIn have organic comments, which we don't pay for any of our content, so everything's organic. They've gone up over 160% on LinkedIn. So you can see that a lot of the content that is doing well, performing well on social media is with our staff. So they may not be interacting with us just yet with our newsletter, but they're definitely engaging with us on social media. And so they like seeing themselves there. Their families are supporting them. So a lot of it is our staff featured content is what's performing well. So that's kind of like just a general overview of what I've been working on in the past 6 months. I'm happy to field any questions.
Questions? Yes.
Thank you, Esmer. Thank you. It's great information to see, and it's nice to see how you've been able to grow the interaction. That's fantastic. Couple quick questions. How do people within the community, meaning within the school community, let you know about different events going on, so that way you're able to then actually push it out? You know, how's that kind of happening?
So again, one of the main points is I will check the school, the website calendar. So if it's on there, I will reach out and ask them, hey, what's going on? Some of them will be proactive about showcase, like telling me, hey, this is going on. I'll read through the principal reads and see what's going on. If they're sending something out, and I'll say, hey, can I cover this? So it works both ways. We have some staff that is really proactive about sending me stuff, and then I'll be proactive about finding things to cover as well.
Okay. And then the other question I had was relative to the newsletter, which I've gotten, and it's great to be able to read through. Is that also then not only going out through email, but then also being out through, pushed out through social media as well?
The newsletter itself is not. That's why we switched to video. We have found the algorithm is always switching, so linking it, it actually isn't pushed. So we thought the videos and the reels, which is what Facebook and Instagram likes, make doing it that way. And then so for example, we just launched the video this month. Yeah, this month. Sorry, and so I know it's running all together. So, and then I just posted, like, for more details, visit our website.
Okay.
And the newsletter is posted on the front page of our website. So you will see every edition of the Panther Nation Connection and our Super Saturday. And then we have our social media feed there. So everything's posted on the homepage.
Is it possible to potentially do like a test to just
Sure.
see? I'm not saying like now, but like somewhere along the way to see how many clicks that you might get by pushing it out, not only in a video format, but potentially through a still format that they would click through. Just as an example to see
Sure.
what's working or what's not
Okay.
working possibly.
Yep, I'm happy to do
Because you're
that.
doing great on getting your numbers. It might just be a data point to help you see
Okay.
another area. But thank you. Great to see the information.
Thank you.
I want to say, from a parent's perspective, at a high level, overall, the quality of the communications, the consistency and the frequency from the entire district is exceptional. I see it as a source of strength, and I have seen and appreciated how these communications have evolved and continued to improve. But I also want to emphasize this is such a critical piece in driving overall engagement, because as you reach further into the community, I think that's an audience that can then more fully participate in all the other things that we make available. So really, really well done.
Thank you.
Thank you. Quick question for me. So when you go by the numbers for top content, the 1-minute views on Facebook, you said that the superintendent had the most views. So 1.7%. What is the percentage of the followers, or how many people are engaged? Like, where's that? What's the context of the 1.7%?
That is in comparison to the other videos that we posted. It
Okay.
drove more comments, likes, views compared to the other
Others.
videos. Just the videos.
Got it.
Just at the other videos that we posted.
Okay. Do we know how many followers we have on? Like, is there a push to have people to obviously follow Facebook, Instagram? and all
Yes.
that?
At last check, we had, I can pull that up right now.
I don't need to know the number. I'm just, I guess my question is, like, there is a drive to have people follow on social media, I would assume.
Yes.
Right? Okay. My second question is, I appreciate the numbers and where we're going with the social media. My concern is for the enrollment marketing. How are we tracking that? So for our October mailer of 2025, where's the data? How are we tracking that? Is it working? Is it effective? Because then we have mailed in February of 2026, so we're still in that, considering we're in March. But how effective is that? Like, what? It's great that we did the mailer, but like, where's the data of, like, how effective was it?
Right. I don't have the data yet. I think I've heard some positive remarks of how many people are choosing not to apply for other schools. So that could be one marker. We can also, I can speak with our principals and see markers of how many people have reached out for more information, because the mailer does say like scheduled tour. So I'm wondering if we've received informational requests to our emails. As we stated, they're like, contact us for more information. So I'm happy to gather data on that.
So I guess my question is, how would you track that? I see there's a QR code here on the February 26th.
Right.
Does that go to a special link that's separate from our website, or is it just go to our website? So like, how would you track that? Because again, mailers can go and then it just falls by the wayside. So my concern is if we mailed in October 2025 and
Right.
it wasn't as effective, then we did another mailing of February 2026. So how effective is it? Or are we just mailing things just for the sake of mailing, I
Yep.
guess?
I appreciate that question. That was a conversation we had about when is the best time to mail a piece, a direct mail piece, because of the application process for some of the other schools, the enrollment, when parents are thinking about registration. So we did discuss that, and then also just we're thinking about that. But like I said, I think one good piece would probably be how many of our students choose not to even apply for other schools.
I guess my question is not necessarily the timing of it. If we're not tracking October 2025, so we don't know if it's effective. So
Right.
then why would we send something in February 2026 when
Okay.
we don't know how effective, or if we're not tracking that data?
Okay.
I guess
Yes. Okay.
that's just my concern. So
And to your point, I think that's where if we can make sure, maybe you already are doing it, where it's an individualized QR code that goes out with each of the different mailers, it allows them for that opportunity to be tracked. And maybe that's already happening, you know,
Right.
I don't know, but that would be something that if the QR code for, say, October is a completely different QR code and feeds in the February one, it may give us a different reading each time
Right.
as to how they're getting in. And that's, I guess, why I was saying also in regards to the social media aspect from a different, like you can then find where you're getting the clicks and likes and how they're being
Right.
funneled in. It may help us.
it's not necessarily a budget concern. Obviously, everything
Right.
adds in some line, but like a 4-page direct mail booklet is
Right.
not cheap, you
Right.
know, so it's pretty cost. So again, how many families did that go out to?
Okay.
How many were returned? Are we tracking that? Because again, if we're spending a good amount of money on this direct mail booklet, great, but then we're following up with a postcard. So
Okay.
why are we following up with something that may not be as effective? Again, I'm not trying to devil in the details, but I'm just curious, as we have such great data with all our social media, that's relatively free for social
Right.
media. And again, I'm not saying everyone's going to social media and it's free and the technology speaks. So going back to USPS, which is could be very costly, why aren't we monitoring that to see how
Yeah.
effective it is? So
I just add a piece of that. And I think, so in a few moments, we'll talk about our budget and specifically the student enrollment side of it. I think to answer your question directly, Mayor, look, we don't know. So we're not tracking specifically how impactful a flyer or the brochure is at this point. What we are trying to do, and I know the school committee is very much behind this effort, is to reverse the decline in enrollment. So we're looking at it,
right.
all systems go,
And I'm not saying it's
social
not
media, videos, mailers,
Right.
and the timing of those was intentional. We sent the brochure home in the fall because that's when a lot of open houses are starting to happen for other high schools. So we wanted to ensure that our high school, which frankly is better than all of them, is given a fair shot by our community. Of course, I'm biased, but, and then we want to send a reminder in February, late February, when families should start making a decision.
Sure.
So but to your point, we're not tracking that yet, but that's a good point.
no, I'm not saying that's not needed. You know, I just want to see, okay, what's the next step? Like, you know, how do we target better? Like, where is it hitting? Where's it not? Is our data up to date? There's just a lot of things, you know, like obviously like campaigning and like you throw things out in the USPS world and sometimes it comes back and things
Right.
of that nature. So I'm just curious to see, you did a great job with all the other details.
Right.
Like I just curious as to see what that data looks like and how we're tracking it.
Okay.
That's all.
I do appreciate that there are, I'm not sure there's free versions for the link trackers. I know there are some paid versions for that do that, where you can see where the traffic is coming from. So we can look at that and see that would be worth the spend to get that. I can tell you how many people received it,
Sure.
which was 1,269 recipients for the 4-page booklet. For the postcard, we sent it to 2,949 recipients. So those are the families with the children in those age ranges. So I'm happy to go back and see if if what I have has data, just because it's a free version. I'm not sure if it has the data for the link tracking, but those are the numbers we sent it to.
Yeah, and I think you've got a couple different things here. One, you've got a brand awareness piece
Yes.
versus the direct response stuff on social media. So your data is going to be very robust there.
Yes.
The role, the direct mail piece, is to reach people who don't interact with stuff digitally, to cut through what they might otherwise ignore. I think an interesting way to look at it is, over the period of time when you think people got the mailer and interacted with it, did you see a proportional lift in traffic to the enrollment site, for example?
Right.
And then because you spent a certain amount of money on the 4-page piece and a certain amount of money on the postcard piece, per piece, the postcard, I think, is going to be less. So I think the evaluation is, can we get as much a lift in traffic with the postcard and avoid a larger expense per piece on the 4-page
Right.
mailer, or which got us more? And I realize it's an indirect measurement because it's that plus a bunch of other things. I think that would just help us be more informed about $1 for a brochure versus 25 cents for a postcard. Made up numbers. What works best
Right.
relative to lift and what's the lift we spent? Yeah.
Right. Thank you for that. We definitely can get website analytics. Like I said, we can definitely get website analytics to see if it's jumped since we
But
said
there
that.
is a QR code that goes to the website, so
Yes.
I mean, it is there. But I'm also curious why we did the direct mail booklet only in English, and then the postcard in English and Portuguese. So again, even those numbers are skewed because
Right.
based upon the marketing that you're
Yep.
targeting. But again, it would just be curious just to see where that data lies. Because again, to your point, you can see if there was a spike in the
Right.
website because they going to this QR, or why not have a specific link on the website that caters just to that brand marketing that way? Because again, the website can be overwhelming if you're not used to it. So if there's a separate link that just caters to that, so that way you actually know firsthand that they're going directly to the information that you want to provide for them, and then you can track that specifically. Again, I'm sorry, devil's in detail, but I'm not trying to do your job. But
I appreciate
if
the
you're spending
feedback.
the amount of money, like we want to know where the money's going and
Right.
see how you track that. That's all. But anyways, I'm turning into Catherine with my questions, so I will move on. So it's not a bad thing; it's a great thing. But anyone else? No, I think we beat this to death.
I think so.
All right, thank you. I'm allowed one per our. Like,
You are.
yeah. All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you. Great work.
Thanks, Esmer.
I'm good. Yes, thank you.
The last item of my report this evening is to review our draft FY27 budget. Before you this evening is a smaller packet. I think Mohammed's going to throw the deck up. No, you can do it from there. In the packet in front of you is a smaller version of what we walked through at our budget workshop last Wednesday, which many of our members of our leadership team are here this evening. So thank you very much for your hard work, effort, energy, and presence last week. And thank you again for being here tonight. You won't have to sit through that whole presentation again, but just a more condensed version. We'll get into the details in a moment, but I do just want to say that our budget was created from a lot of conversations, a lot of listening, kind of a lot of coalescing of information from our staff, from our students, members on our leadership team, really kind of leaning in and listening to and looking at where the needs are and where we can provide the most support immediately, frankly, as we look forward into next school year. So with that, Mohammed is going to help me tag team the material, and we'll move through and get to your questions.
All right, so the budget process actually started before I started, right? There was already a lot of the groundwork was done, and the leadership looked at the historical spendings. They looked at trends, supply lines, and then I came on board. I looked at the budget versus the actual variances, identified areas for efficiencies, to streamline our operations, adjustments, and then we had multiple meetings to review the spending and projections for the FY27 and to address the needs that we had for based on the students and the programmatic needs that we had. We reviewed with the leadership to prioritize our needs after and refine the staffing alignment to enrollment. And with this process, we were able to deliver the budget draft by February 24th. And then we did a workshop recently, March 4th, to communicate all those changes and to be transparent. So that was the entire process of what we went through to deliver the services, that was directed towards the class and to help better support our staff and the students.
So in the process that Mohammed mentioned, we landed on 3 guiding principles. And this is important because this is actually going to show up in our conversation as it relates to some of the reorganization that we are proposing in FY27. And with that, just to forecast for our community where we're going, we did bring forward a level service budget. But as Mr. Crusoe mentioned at our last meeting, while it is level service, it is also enhanced service as it related to using the same dollar to do different things and bring better services forward to our students and families and staff. And so to do that, we landed in 3 guiding principles that really helped kind of steer and shape the FY27 proposal. Mohammed mentioned some of these already, but the first is to really bring more supports directly to the classroom. And so we will be having some conversations this evening, and I'm sure in subsequent weeks, around the increase in academic interventionists, so interventionists working directly with students, intervention coordinators working both with our educators and working directly with students to really help those tier 2 and tier 3 supports. The second is really this idea of realigning our staff. When our leadership team took a look at this budget, we did not say more, we said different. And so we looked at how can we reconfigure existing positions into the new positions we need to bring better services forward to really meet that first guiding principle of helping direct more supports and attention to the classrooms for our students and staff. And then the third, also Mohammed mentioned, was this concept of how do we streamline and strengthen our district operations. And I will not sit here and pretend that the decisions that needed to be made in either of those 3 areas were easy, but I will sit here confidently and say they were the right ones to make on behalf of children and our teachers in the classroom. So what are those decisions? We look forward, we are proposing a few things. And again, these recommendations are coming from many conversations across our district. Listening sessions with staff in every single building, listening sessions with our students, which when I have provided the school committee and our community with prior updates around my entry plan, just how critically important those conversations were. One of the things that is important to me with my own leadership is if you share something, I'm going to respond. And so in these conversations, there were many somethings shared, and before you this evening is quite a significant response plan as it relates to aligning our dollars to our instructional design and delivery. And so specifically with that, what are we talking about? Well, we're talking about expanding our early childhood classrooms. We have about 70 students on our wait list, and we're looking to add 2 classrooms. It is not and will not meet everybody's need. I'm sure I speak for all of us when we say we would love a universal preschool program. We're not there. It's going to take many years to continue to build that out, but this is a step in the right direction and will help us meet the needs of at least another 2 classes of preschool students. We are looking at increasing our social emotional learning interventionists, specifically at the elementary level and at the middle school level. And to our friends and families at home that are kind of wondering a little bit about that, we have these really robust restorative centers in our schools, and they are designed to help students reset and get ready to go back into the classroom when they need an opportunity, if they are not feeling regulated and need to connect with an adult outside of the learning environment in order to tend to their learning task. And so we are proposing an increase in our social emotional learning interventionists. Again, when we think about, as I mentioned on the academic side, we talk about like these tiers, right? Like tier 1 is everyone. Tier 2 are like some kids need, and then tier 3 are like few kids need. We think about the social emotional and behavioral development of our students the same way. And so the concept behind the social emotional learning interventionists is they would be able to provide those tier 2 or tier 3 interventions outside of the classroom setting, so the teacher can also attend to his or her or their classroom and the other 20 students that are sitting in front of them. The third area is looking at increasing our interventionists. This is something that is critically important. This is targeting specifically our academics. We in our district have done something that is not uncommon, which is we have looked at hiring in the past very specific math interventionists and reading interventionists. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But we have teachers who are really skilled and that can do really good work in multiple areas. And so when you hire only one or the other, you are then sort of pigeonholing the level of instruction and the type of instructional delivery that can happen when you might have students that need something a little bit different. So in this design, we have learned from the Richer School, where we had hired, I know our school committee members of this, but our community, just to jog their memory, we hired a interventionist for grade 5. So this is just a really good teacher that can work with small groups of kids and multiple content areas. And so we are looking to bring forward interventionists across our all of our schools except our high school, and that model actually looks a little bit different, to help really address those tier 2 and tier 3 needs, those kids that need a little bit more, but won't take away from the classroom instructor, so that again the classroom instructor can focus on the whole class. Along those same lines, we are looking at bringing forward an increase in intervention coordinators. That is not a new position to us. And the term coordinator may have a feel to it that is more administrative. These are actually positions within our teachers unit, our Marlboro Educators Association, the MEA. These are not administrators. These are like top-notch teachers that intervene on behalf of students. So they would work with a group or two of students each day, but also can partner with teachers and help them with lesson planning, help them looking at student work, helping the teacher think about what are some interventions they can provide in the classroom. It really provides a non-evaluative support to the classroom teacher that is not an administrative role. We are also building out our K through 8 special education programming. And I know there'll be many questions on that. And I should also mention, we will have a specific agenda item on an upcoming school committee meeting soon, where we can get deep into the weeds on that, even more so than the school committee may want to go through the budget process. Running parallel to that will be a Marlboro High School alternative education program with a twist. And I say that because sometimes we think about alternative education, I'm going to just name it, as a place where kids go that can't be in the classroom, and some may feel don't belong in the classroom, kids who, may be labeled as kids who misbehave. And sure, kids struggle with behaviors. We're talking about all kinds of interventions and things that need to be in place. But we're looking to do something a little bit different with our alternative education program at the high school. We're looking at a true project-based, hands-on, career-oriented pathway for students who are interested. Might there be students who are referred? Absolutely. But there also could be students who just want to take a different approach to learning and take a more interdisciplinary project-based approach. And so we are proud to be offering that to our community. We are also looking at folding in 8th grade and any 8th graders who may be interested in that as well. Speaking of the 8th grade, we're very excited to be adding to, in this proposal, adding to the Whitcomb Middle School an additional music teacher, which will help with a possible multi-year build-out of expanding the arts across our school system, which is something that is important, I know, to each and every one of us. And also expanding our foreign languages by adding a Spanish teacher that will be able to support 125 additional students through Spanish introduction, which would be great. Shifting back into that coordinator role, we are looking at expanding our English learner coordinators so that we will have one in each building. Right now, that is not the case. They are shared. In our restructuring of our English language learner department, we think this will be a really important component to add in the absence of an assistant EL director. And lastly, I think one of our very exciting opportunities for our community is the addition, and the title of it is a little bit wonky and can be confusing, secondary teaming options. If you're looking at them and being wondering, like, what is that? One of the things that I have heard resounding from our parents at our fall coffee and conversations, from from some of our school committee members, from our students, from our staff and leadership, is the current model we have for our 9th and 10th graders at the high school as it relates to specifically our math and ELA classes that are mixed, kind of heterogeneous group classes, which I think are super well intentioned, and I love where the heart is on that. But there are quite a significant number of challenges with that model. So if you are a freshman right now, you are in freshman algebra, and you may or may not be an honors student within that section, depending upon if you get the honors packet. And so what we are proposing we do is actually pull that apart and separate it out and create something totally different called an accelerated learners pathway that would actually begin in 6th grade. It would go all the way through MHS. And the idea here is to create a real rigorous program for students that they could opt in grade 6 and could take them all the way through where at the end, frankly, they could graduate with a distinction or a seal of distinction around accelerated learners. Or if they choose to opt into one content area, they could have a seal of distinction in the accelerated learning pathway for English or for math. So trying to open it up and provide different opportunities for students who may have different strengths. We would love to see a student opt in for all of the content areas, but we certainly understand that's quite a heavy lift. The whole ultimate goal with this accelerated pathway, in addition to kind of creating this rigorous learning experience for our students, is to create an open schedule junior, senior year for students to be able to enroll in more Quinsigamond Community College courses or AP classes for credit. We heard from one of our graduates, it was a video, but he finished his freshman year of college while at a senior at MHS. And so that opportunity exists now, but our idea is to really blow that out and give a concrete pathway for students in which to move through with that, and starting it as early as 6th grade. And so we are very excited about that. To kind of double back to the conversation we just had with Esmer, our communications team, i.e. Esmer, is going to be doing a lot of work around getting this information out to parents. And members of our leadership team have been meeting around the clock to put in place the course sequence and how to get the information out to families, the on-ramps for students to these different opportunities, and also off-ramps if it's not working. Lots of information here, but wanted to kind of forecast that in our level service budget, this is why I think Mr. Cruz is calling it enhanced service budget, we are proposing the changes in staff to bring forward the expansion of programs. One of the things that is, I think, critically important to all of us, of course, as the mayor mentioned, is obviously our student enrollment, and really looking at how to increase our participation in our schools. In the past year, we have seen a reduction in students of around 400. We lost approximately 200 at the elementary level and approximately 200 at the secondary level, moving from middle to high school. And I know I have been beating this drum, and I'm saying it to a room of individuals that very much know and embrace this as well. But our families really do not need to look elsewhere for educational opportunities. We have amazing opportunities right here in MPS. And so we are looking to reverse some of these enrollment trends that we have seen. The enrollment trends are important not only because of students in classrooms, but those students in classrooms are directly tied to state funding. And so before Mohammed jumps into that, I just want to share, and I'm assuming that many of our families at home are probably wondering, with some of this reorganization and with changing some of our positions that we have into these new roles, what will that mean for class size? And the class sizes with all of these changes are very reasonable. And in most cases are the same as to what they are now. You can see for us, and we know that class size is something we value here in MPS, but in kindergarten, first and second grade, so our littlest learners, we are still able to maintain classes of 20 to 22 in grades 3 through 5. We're looking at 22 to 25, not uncommon. And upper elementary, start to see the class sizes increase a little bit. The kids are a little bit older, a little more independence. Middle school around 22 to 24. And then the high school is around 18 to 24. And we know the high school offers unique courses. So might you find a course that has 12 students in it or 15 students in it? Absolutely. There are these unique kind of one-off courses. And our goal was not to eliminate programming. The goal was to actually expand programming within existing dollars. And so we were able to do that by maintaining our class sizes. And so, Mohammed, if you want to share a little bit about the numbers and how we're going to get this done.
Yeah, so for FY27, our level service budget representing 2.94% increase over last year. The total dollar amount is $85,199,324. It's an approximately $2.43 million increase. That includes the transportation. It includes the contractual obligations that we have. It includes, supplies and services. So with that, I would like to share some of the revenue numbers just to show where the money is coming from. So in our budget book, there is a more comprehensive detail with graphs and explanation for this. But for FY27, as you can see, for the total state funding, we're actually starting negative $324,680. So that's sort of we're starting in the negative this year. Based off of the school sending and the charter school reimbursements. If you offset those, that is what we're starting off with for the revenue side. So it's a challenging year, but we're working within the resources that we have, as Jay mentioned. And then
Just in summary, this is sort of what we I just talked through, but I want to get really clear and specific about what the finances will be supporting in addition to what Mohammed just mentioned. But we are looking to reconfigure existing positions into 6 intervention coordinators, 6 interventionists, which again could be math or English, any content area, 5 SEL interventionists, 1, which is social emotional learning interventionist, 1 music teacher, 1 world language teacher, 2 preschool teachers, and the current interim assistant principal at Jarwick, we are recommending that we leave in the budget for next year. And then for materials and supplies, we will be bringing forward a continuation of our middle and high school attendance academies, some new science materials for grades 3 through 5. That is a result of a grant expiring or running out, sunsetting. And then bringing forward district-wide our elementary after-school music enrichment program that we've been piloting this year that has been really great. And so we're excited to hear more about that as we move through the spring, but we'd like to bring that forward to all of our schools next year. And then additionally, to increase student ridership, we are looking to restore 4 buses. Not getting back to the 33. Right now we're at 25, and we are looking to bring back 4 to see if we can kind of reconfigure some of the runs and increase service to students and families. And then with that, just the process that we have in front of us, the public hearing for the budget will be on March 24th. And then if all goes as scheduled, the school committee would certify the budget that evening, and then we will send it off to the mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Sorry. I was trying to let others, if anybody else wanted to jump in, so.
I don't think there's anyone else. So go
Okay,
for it.
all right, then I'll go. First, I just wanted to say thank you so much to you all for putting this together, but actually to all of our administrators on all of the hard work that you guys did to get us to where we are today and currently. The workshop that we had was really, really helpful to get a baseline started. Did have some further questions that I had put out to the superintendent and Mohammed so that I could kind of flesh out a few additional areas if possible. And I know that Ms. Bodenhenger and I had had some conversation and she had had some similar questions, I guess. So first off, I just want to say, especially in having conversations with my husband at home about this, I think one of the things that I appreciate about this budget, it's utilizing the incredible skills of the people that we have already here within the district to reallocate a little bit differently so that we can make it work for the students to get to success. And that's not meaning that we haven't been doing it, but you all pulled together to really look at where we need to be going to kind of move us to the next step. And I think that's kind of like when you put it in business terms, it's like, where's our return on investment? And so I look at the conversations we've had with the city council, with you as the mayor and the city council, it's wanting to make sure that we're investing in the right places. And I would say that I think that's where some of our conversations are going, right? Like we had asked and you all had pointed out about the SEL interventionists. I think I look back on how we've done a lot of work about responsive classroom, and that's been something that we've been doing for a while, wanting to make sure that we're actually focusing on having the appropriate staff in place to have those classrooms really working well, I think is really important. I kind of took a step back and thought from a parent how I felt whenever there might have been a disruption in class and more of the students, let's say, had to take a walk around the school as opposed to that child being able to potentially be regulated and supported in a classroom that allowed for the teacher and the students to still be able to go ahead and move forward on their everyday studies. So I think it's kind of taking a look at things a little differently. For me, I would like to make sure that we are doing it on a vertical support. So not only are we helping on the elementary level and the middle school level, but also I want to, we did have a conversation about at the high school level. I want to make sure that how we are doing it, it's the whole way through, which I think we have the space, but it sounds like there probably needs to be a little bit more conversation about how that person is being utilized, if you will, and supported up at the high school too, which we had that conversation, but I think being transparent here as well. And similarly, I think for the interventionists, wanted to have that similar trajectory. I understand at the high school, it's going to be a little bit different, but I am concerned that I want to make sure that that is an element that we're thinking about how to make sure we're attacking not only the tier 1, but the tier 2, tier 3 in a similar fashion across the board. I love the thought about the intervention coordinators being able to provide kind of like more boots on the ground to be able to support our staff on a more an immediate nature. And that would be also really to the EL coordinators too. I think that's something that we've discussed for a number of years, and maybe we haven't gotten to the point of having pure execution right there immediately, but we need to. And so having it within the school, I'm hoping that's going to truly help on supporting the staff so they can get to, you know, keeping everyone in their classroom, but having that help right there. Thank you for the clarity around the K-8 special education programming addition. We had a few materials somewhere where it was K-8, K-7. So, you know, I think, and you also mentioned about 8 potentially with the alt ed. I think that's something we're going to need to continue to flesh out a little bit more about expectations. Because I think in some ways we're trying to not have as many out-of-district placements by that K-8 programming being created. But I think also it's our hope that it would be more of a transition. So it's more temporary, if you will. We don't want students to necessarily stay within that. And that really took me back to the report that we had when special education had that CRE, whatever, with the review recently about making sure that we weren't necessarily keeping students in a separate for too much. So that was kind of one of the things that hit for me a lot. And making sure, however, that program's going to be created, that we're being cognizant of that, you know. The secondary teaming, which you did mention, I think part of it is a matter of meeting some of the needs around our advanced pathways, accelerated pathways, if you will, and continuing to have conversations around that so that we're continuing with the rigor that we've discussed over the years. And starting that earlier, I think is a great option. We've done it in bits and pieces, but then I think to put more behind it, so there is definitely more trajectory, I think is great, especially with the addition of bringing back a more robust world language at the middle school. When I had asked about this, and I just wanted to make sure everyone was on the same page, we're talking about potentially about 124 more students who would potentially receive this opportunity to get access, which is fantastic. And many of you will remember our music conversation from years past. I'm really happy to hear the potential opportunity of the music students and the performing groups being able to get more consistency of 3 times a week. You can't have a really great music program continue if they can't get the consistency, and that's all about what we're talking about with any of the other core subjects too. Consistency is key. I do think it would be helpful for us to get more information about the alternative ed programming at the high school, more details about those, the 4 full-time team leaders and their skill sets and how that's going to kind of roll out with who's going to be in charge, how that's all going to work. Because with losing some of the roles up at the high school, as I asked earlier today, I think we need to understand about how the evaluations and some of those evaluations will be handled and in what roles. Because that's going to be a concern, I think, across any of the Unit B roles, especially as well as our principal roles.
Would it be okay to just say a quick piece on that?
Yep.
With the recommended changes, the evaluation caseloads, each evaluator would have, a current evaluator with the adjustments would have 3, maybe 4 more total. So just as a FYI, I don't know if you had a chance to see the numbers tonight, but yeah.
I did, and
Okay.
thank you. I appreciate it. I just think that that's something, again, everyone will probably need to understand here, just because it would have an impact of people's time and how that's going to affect their caseloads overall.
Yeah, and the hope is that by bringing more supports to the classroom, that actually the administrators would have more time for some of the instructional leadership work, like that piece, right? So that it's kind of hand in glove. Yeah.
The other thing which I'm realizing I didn't ask or say too much about was with that K-8 programming, one of the things that I was asking about, and I think you definitely are addressing, is the crossover of the licensure needs that I would think that we would need to have, especially with the secondary and the elementary crossover. And I'm wondering, is that something that we're going to look at dual licensure to support our professional development potentially for some of our staff?
Yeah, so we will actually, and Patty has been really looking at kind of almost a matrix of different positions and licensure, and that's a key piece to make sure that we will have a structure in place where whatever the program is calling for from a licensure perspective, our individuals will have the licenses they need to do that.
Yeah, I guess that was also, though, I was wondering whether that might be something we may look at as well, of being able to potentially help some of those folks that may have an interest in that area, but they don't necessarily have the licensure, but are willing to put the time out there. Just something, because we talk about enhancing the professional development for our staff. It might just be something for us to look at.
Yeah, and we do, to that point, we do offer opportunities like that on a regular basis for folks that need to get their hours in for their director license or for a principal license. So if any of our staff are tuning into that, please don't hesitate to reach out if you need to sign up for hours or get your internship done. Like we welcome that for sure.
And one of the other things I was noticing as I was going through, and then of course with tonight's information with the attendance situation, I mean, our numbers look like they are definitely improving, and I think the attendance academies have definitely been helping. And I guess that's where I'm wondering, do we need additional staff to try and support in that area of re-engagement at the elementary areas, I mean, and middle school? You know, I just, that was one of the things that I was looking at. We had a lower percentage, and I think there was like a first grade and a kindergarten, which probably we could reverse around fairly quickly. It just kind of hit me as I was looking through the numbers. I don't know.
The school committee might remember when we posted for the re-engagement coach, we initially had a high school, a middle school, and one for Richer. And so we ended up combining and just getting a middle high school coach. We have still been fielding candidates, or maybe candidate, singular, but for the Richer position. But I will say the Richer school has the lowest chronic absenteeism because of the approach in which they're taking of just literally relentless phone calls and following up with families. And so we're still pursuing that as an opportunity, but really one for a learning opportunity that they could then spread across the other schools. Yeah.
And then the last thing was really around some of the advanced pathways was, I know it wasn't really mentioned specifically within our budget book, but we had talked about like the enhanced service was discussed about the biomed program as something for the high school that was talked about when we did the program of studies. I think that's something that we do need to talk about, these other opportunities that are being offered within the budget where it is. It's retooling and utilizing the skill sets of the staff that we have and providing something stronger. So I think that that's my hope, is that I know when we're just talking about reallocation, it can be quite concerning for staff about, oh goodness, where do I fit? And I think it's just saying that we have to look at our puzzle a little bit differently. And that doesn't mean that it's a bad thing. It's just a different thing. And I think that that's my biggest hope with this budget, is allowing people to hopefully take a little bit of a shift and think positively about retooling a little bit to make a good thing even better. So, thanks.
Anyone else who can follow that? Good. Love you. Moving on. Assistant Superintendent of Student Services and Equity. It's Jody.
Thank you very much. So on Sunday, March 1st, we had 19 Marlborough High School students who participated in the Special Olympics Polar Plunge. And that was held here in Marlborough at the Special Olympics headquarters. And overall, the group had raised $21,000, and our high school students was the top fundraising team with over $5,000. Overall, it was a really cold day. As you know, February, March has been unprecedentedly cold. But overall, they were oh my gosh. So they together were able to bear the cold and be able to get together and do the plunge. Were you at that? No. No. Yep. So it looked like they had a lot of fun overall. Also, I wanted to provide the school committee with an update on the special education students with disabilities performance on the NWEA for the winter data. Dr. Skaza had presented on the aggregate data at the last school committee meeting. And today I wanted to go through the students with disabilities subgroup. And overall, our target for the year is 60% growth in both ELA and math across our grade levels. And from the data that you see, we're pretty well on our way in regards to reading, with grade 1 and grade 5 already have met, already meeting that target of 60% or more growth. And the remaining elementary and middle school grades for reading are right on the cusp of being able to reach that. And we still have work to do within our high school grades 9 and 10. In math, we have grade 2, grade 5, grade 7, and grade 8 that have already met the benchmark target for the school year. And grade 3 is just on the cusp of that. We still have work to do in kindergarten and first grade, grade 4, 6, and 9th and 10th grade as well. So we are doing routine special ed data meetings at each of our schools. Special Education Director John Fletcher and I are meeting with the principals and the ETLs. And each month we are looking at a set of data, whether or not that's chronic absenteeism, the winter benchmarks for the NWEA, conduct data, and be able to look at trends. So, for instance, at Kane, we were able to look through our chronic absentee data and be able to target. There's some trends with specific grade levels, and we identified some students that are in particular programs. So we developed a plan with school adjustment counselor along with wraparound service coordinator is going to be reaching out to those families and engaging them in coming up with specific plans. We are also looking to for our spring intervention groups to be able to address those grade level spans that are still in that warning zone, the red zone, as far as not making making moderate growth. And we are, as far as our attendance data, we are also looking to doing a spring attendance campaign across the district. I'm working with Javi Gutierrez, our re-engagement coach, who's grades 6 to 12. We are working with Attendance Works and coming up with, over the next month, a campaign that will be providing snippets for the principal newsletters to go out to families. We'll be doing newsletters out to our staff, providing some incentives for students and families to be able to increase student attendance for the spring to prevent that spring slide. And we have students that are on that borderline of being on the chronically absentee 10%, and we're looking to make sure that we have them reduce their absences so that they're not chronically absent by the end of the year.
Thank you. Yes.
Is there any way that you could look back at the NEWA information from last year to be able to see how it could actually help especially in that math area, because I thought it was really interesting where it was kind of like every other year. There was like a red, green, red, green.
Okay.
I'm wondering if there's something from a trend that you guys could actually gather the information by looking backwards to see what's happened, what they were getting, what they might not have been getting, and how it affected. That was the only thing that hit me when I was seeing how it was kind of like spotty. I wonder if you could get anything by gathering that data.
Yes, thank you. We will definitely look into that.
I would love to see it if you are able to pull it. Thank you.
Thank you.
So the next will be spring or towards the end of the year for our next data results?
Yes, spring, and I think they were pushing that out because of MCAS.
Yeah, we just met as a joint evaluation committee to make a decision to push that testing window a little bit past the MCAS testing window. So I want to say it's going to be early June when we will be gathering our spring assessment data.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else? Thank you, Ms. O'Brien. Moving on. School Business Manager, Mr. Mohammed.
All right, so the first item that I have is the my expenditure report, the monthly expenditure report. It's in your packet. There is a comprehensive document that tracks our spending. I've actually added the names to the accounts this time, and I added a column. I took out the encumbrance column because we found some discrepancies in there. So with our projections and the year-to-date expended amounts were included in this expected expenditure column now. So that increased the accuracy a little bit. We're still going through these accounts to, kind of fish out and look at things that are not encumbered yet, but we are doing our own projections to close the gap and give you some accurate numbers. The second item that I have on my list is the transportation update. So our transportation currently is in stable position with on-time performances averaging around 90%. The delays were largely due to the recent weather-related delays in February, not this week. But all our routes across all the schools are fully staffed, and financially, monthly invoicing has been stabilized. I understand that before I started, there were some hiccups in the transportation area where we were holding payments. And so overall, the transportation is reliable with improved communication at both management and the dispatch level. So it's in good shape right now. Right now, it's in good shape.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're very kind with that report, so.
Oh.
Questions, comments, concerns for Mr. Mohammed?
Thank you for finding the school committed line item for me.
Thank you.
All righty. Good? Okay. Moving on. Everyone's favorite, public comments. Is there any public comment? Public comment going once, seeing none. Public comment. Miss House is still here, so we can say nice things about her if you want. If not, we can move on. Yeah, well, yeah, okay. Yeah. Meaning, let's move this meeting forward. So, public comment going twice. Is there any public comments? Seeing none. Last and final public comment for the third time. Is there any public comment? Seeing none. There's no more public comment. Moving on. Action items and reports. We have one donation. Let me pull that up. So it's for $65 from a check from Benevity.
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Motion to approve is on the table and seconded. Questions, comments, concerns regarding the donation? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion carries. Thank you very much. And we already did the contract, so we're moving on to reports of school committee subcommittees. Yes, Ms. Hennessy.
We had a policy meeting just a little bit ago, and our main topic of conversation is around creating a policy around AI. And that's not really to scare folks, it's just that we can't bury our heads on thinking that if we just ignore it, it's gonna go away. And that's also not saying that we're trying to like limit everything 110%, but we're trying to have some educated discussion around how to utilize AI in an educated way. How about that? So we don't have anything yet because we're really trying to do this in a really thoughtful way. Chris Henry was really instrumental on bringing some insight forward. We also looked at some other districts that have moved forward on trying to do something around AI. And honestly, I have to say, I felt like what Mr. Henry had brought to us was much better. But it also allowed us to have some conversations that I know needed to be taken back to the leadership team to really talk through thoughts with the leadership group about their approaches, their ideas too. So I just wanted to make you guys aware of it. That's that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other reports for our school committee? No? Members forum. Yes, Ms. Ryan.
I just want to shout out to the cast and crew of Mamma Mia for a great job at their musical this past weekend. And also a shout out to all the parents. It was a long week and a long drama season of, thankfully, my children still drive, but those who had to pick up their kids late nights and the parents who helped with Tech Week and behind the scenes, providing dinners and working the show, thank you, because they couldn't do it without you. So thank you.
It was a great show. I was there opening night. Yes. Atul.
I'd like to give a quick update on our states. So last weekend, we competed in Framingham for a 2-day event for states competition. We sadly did not make Worlds. We were 1 point off, which is pretty much the closest you can get and not make it. We did finish top 10 in the state though, which I am pretty proud to keep that up. And we did win the sportsmanship award. So our team among 65 teams were awarded for the best sportsmanship, teamwork. All of the referees, it was pretty unanimous apparently. They really loved us. We had one match, funny enough, where we didn't have a partner. So it's a 2v2 match. And one team left the tournament, interestingly enough, and we were by ourselves. So we decided to make some fun out of it. And me and my friend both drove the robot with 2 people instead of 1. So they really got a kick out of that. And we actually did better than we thought we would. So we will take that.
That's great.
And it's great. So yeah.
Excellent. Perfect. Mr. Caruso.
Well, it's almost anticlimactic because I was just going to follow up on Mrs. Ryan. I'm sorry for my voice. I call it my cat voice because that's all I talk to all day is cats. And so when I go to real people, I can't speak. I don't know why. But I apologize. But I have to say that the production value of this Mamma Mia, as well as, the talent was there. Matter of fact, that young gentleman who played one of the leads, I'm sure he's going to be on Broadway at some point because his voice is fantastic. Everybody's voice is fantastic. And as a music person, I appreciated the fact that I could hear all the harmonies. You could tell the work went into that. So I just know the production values of everything. The way this is kind of an acknowledgement of your daughter too, because the way things worked, and Allie was the stage manager, the way things worked back and forth, it was like I probably should joke and say since I've done a show, I can't see one that's been run so well, but that's just a joke for me. But it was really good. I just sat the whole night, appreciated it. I was probably spending more time looking at lighting and set movement than probably most people would, but it really was impressive and very well done. Very, very well done.
That's great. Yeah, it was a great production.
Just wanted to also do a shout out for our jazz ensemble. They had won a silver medal at the MAJE District Festival, and Tyler Manel, Al Ryan, and Nora Crozier were all selected as outstanding musicians. So just a big shout out. And again, this just reemphasizes why we need to make sure that we're supporting our music the whole way down by having also that 5th grade support. And this is example. We want to keep growing it. So.
And they will be participating in states this Saturday, 12:30 in Norwood, if you're interested.
Yeah, I did see that post. Newsies Juniors with the Marlboro Middle School productions coming up soon.
The Marlboro Middle School production will be not this weekend, but the following weekend.
thank you.
And it is Newsies.
Yes.
If I don't say that, my wife, the director, will haunt me. So please come out and enjoy. It'll be great. And I'll be building sets this weekend. So
What do you know the dates? I don't have it.
it's not this upcoming weekend. It's the following weekend.
Okay.
And do they do Friday, Saturday, and Sunday?
Yeah, same thing.
They do, same
Same thing. Yep.
schedule.
Yep. And the times are the same.
Okay.
So yeah.
Looking forward to going.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to be great.
And last shout out, Marlboro Public Schools posted on their Facebook page for all of you could read who, but the Business Professionals of America State Leadership Conference in Southbridge. Their hard work led them to impressive top 3 finishes, qualifying them for the national conference in Nashville this May. So I think that we should definitely do a shout out to them. So congratulations to the students that went, making Marlboro proud. So congratulations and kudos to you.
And-
So.
And Jane Haley got an award as well, 20-year,
Oh, yeah.
I don't know,
Dedicated service to MS.
greatest
MHS
teacher
PTA
on
Club.
earth award, or so, yeah. Hey, Jane.
So again, just another reason why we choose Marlboro. So we go from the arts to the business world. I mean, it's all encompassing, right? That's what we like to hear. Having said that, anyone else say again?
I said, I see what you did there.
You're right. You like that, right? Yeah. Tie it all together. All righty. Can we wrap this up? Anyone else have
can.
anything for members for you? Nothing?
Nope,
That's the part. What do we need?
move to adjourn.
Move to adjourn is on the table and seconded. All in favor of adjourning? Carries at 9:05. Thank you. Again, congratulations.